2023 is going to be a completely different market than 2022 was. So follow along. I'm going to give you some tips on what's going to be in your best interest to utilize going into this new year. Okay, number one big thing is to really keep in touch with your lender. As these interest rates fluctuate, that's going to determine what you're allowed to borrow from the bank. So if they go up, that means that you're going to be able to afford less. But if they continue this trend downward, you're going to be able to afford more. So just keep that in mind. Keep in touch with your lender. They are an integral part to this process, and they need to be informed just as much as you do. Number two, again, is the interest rates. Now, in addition to purchasing power, interest rates, the further down they go, the more competitive the market will be, because that means that more buyers are able to afford whatever that house is. So if the interest rates go up, we saw the demand go really down because the amount of buyers in the market were less so. Now, conversely, when the interest rates go down, the competition is gonna skyrocket. Now, we're not gonna see those 3% interest rates, but again, as I've said before, 5.5% is typically the threshold. So do keep an eye on the interest rates in regards to how competitive the market will be. Okay, number three is paying attention to the days on market. Obviously, there's a correlation of days on market versus purchase price. And the longer the home is on the market, the least likely it is for a seller to get full asking price. So let's just say, hypothetically, you're looking at a house and it just hit the market. Well, initially, that excitement, that urgency is gonna be there, so it's more likely for the seller to get full asking price. However, conversely, if you're looking for a home and the home has been on the market for 60 days, well, there's a higher chance that you're gonna be able to get a better deal than if you were to just purchase right when it hit the market, because the seller doesn't have many options at that point. Once that parade of people have already passed the home or overlooked the home, then you're only gaining the attention of people that are just hitting the market looking for a new home. Number four is making sure that you're still willing to compromise to a degree. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have, half of what you're looking for, but what I will say is that if you can find 90% of what you're looking for, that's a pretty good shot. I see a lot of people that are paralyzed because they have to find exactly the right thing, but do keep in mind that life changes happen. You have kids, the kids go off to college, you need to upsize, downsize. That dream home might be a dream right now, but it might not be your dream home long term. Now with that, if you already have a home and you have equity in that home, that's gonna put you in an even better position to get your truly dream home in the distant future. So just keep that in mind. I will say that if you could find, again, 90% of what you're looking for, that's pretty darn good. So just consider it and don't rule it out. Tip number 5, 2023, use your common sense, people. Back a year ago, someone could sell their home on their own with no representation, so no realtor, no broker. They could sell it for over asking. They could sell it in 2 days. It's not going to be the case anymore. So 2023, just be suspicious of everything. Now, I'm not saying that you always need representation. Could one sell their house on their own? For sure. Could they buy their house on their own? For sure. But what I'm saying is trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, if something doesn't sound right, if the pieces of the puzzle don't mix together, do your due diligence. Use common sense. Don't overlook small items because they could turn into really, really big items. So trust your gut and use common sense. Okay, number 6 going into 2023 is the fact that you can take a little bit more time than you could last year or the previous year for that matter. So there's a lot of things that you could source in regards to information on the home, such as the owner's property disclosure, the septic permit, sewer line records. There's a lot of stuff that we can help you source in order for you to make an educated decision, but don't sit too long. I've been in a lot of situations where people sit on it for a week and another offer comes in, the seller accepts that, and then you always look back to that house, and that's never a good feeling. So while you do have time to think about the decision, don't take it too far because you might lose out on it. Okay, number 7. Don't assume that the listing price is valid. And when I say that, there could be a million different reasons as to how the seller came up with the price that they're asking. It could be that their relative gave them some insight from across the country in a totally different market. It could be the listing agent used comparables from 8 months ago when we were in a totally different market. You never know exactly what that home is worth. So use your representation to validate that number is what it should be. Okay, number 8 is not to go to the top of your limit. A banker is gonna give you a number. Say they're gonna say, hey, you're good up to 400,000. That doesn't mean that you should buy a house right at 400,000. What if you need some improvements? What if you want to make an addition? What if your water heater, your furnace go out? You want to make sure that you have some reserves in there so you're not house poor, because I promise you that's not a fun feeling. So never go to the very top of your budget. Always start low and then you can migrate high. So if you start at a lower limit, say 350 in a $400,000 hypothetical scenario, it's a lot easier to go up than it is to come down, because a $350,000 house is way different than a $400,000 house, and likewise above and beyond. So just keep that in mind. Don't always go right to the top. I hope that information was valuable. There's a million more tips and tricks that we can go over, but these were my top 8. So if you have any questions, if you find value in this, please hit the subscribe button. I look forward to educating you guys more. And of course, if there's anything I can ever do for you, please feel free to reach out. I hope you have a great day.